I'm very glad that we have today Olha Kryvosheieva with us. Uh, there is a long time of very good cooperation between the arts and science. And we will talk today about the Jura Soyfer translation into Russian. And there will be two parts. The one part is my part, the historical part, and the second part is how to deal with this translation in Charkiv in Ukraine. And the history of the translation was that there was a conference in Saarbrücken in 1991 about Austrian literature. And there I met Alexander Belobratov from St. Petersburg. And Alexander made his habilitation about Robert Musil. So there was a good reason that he was in Saarbrücken at the Robert Musil Arbeitsstelle. And we talked about Jura Soyfer also. And he made the suggestion to translate Jura Soyfer. Alexander Belobratov is a university professor, but he is also a translator. He translated a lot of Austrian literature. For example, Elfriede Jelinek. And he helped a lot that Austrian literature got known in Russia. And Jura Soyfer, he organized a translation for Neva. Neva is a literary journal in Russian Federation. And there were a lot of people who were reached with these translations in 1992. Then we came up with an exhibition with TV, with theater. It was great to cooperate with Alexander Belobratov. Alexander Belobratov also was at the Jura Soyfer conference at the University of California at Riverside. This was in 1992. We organized in 1995, together with Donald G. DeVio from the University of California at Riverside, a conference about history of Austrian literature. This was a main point of INST to organize worldwide these histories of Austrian literature. Also in St. Petersburg, we made a conference in 1996, and this was exceptional to make a conference in St. Petersburg about Austrian literature. So we have this context until now, and Alexander Belobratov helped us also with pictures from the historical Charkiv, which we published in our printed journal, Jura Soyfer. We have now an electronic journal since 2000, but before we had until 2007 also a printed journal. So this translation of Jura Soyfer into Russian was combined with new access to Austrian literature in Russia. And this translation had also other consequences. One consequence was the translation of Jura Soyfer into Hindi. And the translation from Jura Soyfer into Hindi was done by Arlt Mag.a, and so this Russian translation helped that Jura Soyfer got also well known in other parts of the world. One experience was in Charkiv, when there was a performance of Jura Soyfer, The End of the World. And I want to ask Ola how it was to work with this translation, which experiences she had with this translation. Please.
Thank you for the opportunity to share my experience working with Jura Soyfer translation. And I want to say I'm not a linguist, I'm an actress, and I'm teaching of acting, but I have had the privilege of engaging with Soyfer text through performance and pedagogy. I was fortunate to become acquainted with Jura Soyfer and his play The End of the World while I was teaching at the Kharkiv National University of Arts. There in 2016, I worked with the actors on a text analysis and interpretation. Today, I would like to share this experience with you, how it unfolded then and how it has since evolved. For me, Jura Soyfer is not only an important author, but also a very personal connecting thread between different stages of my life. I first discovered him in a peaceful times in Kharkiv, the city where I studied, lived, and from which I later have to leave because of the war. It's especially meaningful that Soyfer himself was born in Kharkiv. This creates a feeling of inner kinship with his biography and his text. At the Kharkiv National University of Art, I work with his play The End of the World together with my students. And after immigrating to Berlin, I continued this work at the Ernst Busch Academy of Dramatic Arts. In this way, Soyfer has remained in my artistic life as a kind of orientation point, a guiding star that accompanied me in very different circumstances. It's also important for me that Jura Soyfer texts reach far beyond one national or linguistic space. His plays speak about things that concern every human being: fear, responsibility, the future of the world. That's why translation of his work into many languages are not only cultural work, but also a way to bring his thoughts into a wider global conversation about the fate of humanity. The city of Kharkiv, where Soyfer was born, was historically predominantly Russian-speaking. Before the full-scale invasion, about 90% of its inhabitants spoke Russian in everyday life. Today, Kharkiv, like the whole of eastern Ukraine, is going through a very intense and difficult phase on linguistic and cultural transition. And in public space, in official communication, Ukrainian dominants speak Ukrainian language, which is understandable given the current political and historical situation. But many people still speak Russian at home, and there are still those who do not fully understand Ukrainian. At that time, when we working on Soyfer's play, we performed it in Ukrainian, using Russian translation when needed to clarify certain meanings. For example, in Bilobratov's Russian translation, in the first scene, he translates the son as Madame, die Frau. This emphasizes the son's status, its authority, and its influence. Such nuances very important to consider to fully understand the text. And I believe the more versions an actor can use, the better they can understand the meaning of the play, what Soyfer wanted to convey, and convey deeply on stage. During the actor's works period, translation complement each other, revealed meanings and opening up the text more fully. In reality, it's often difficult to draw a strict line between Russian and Ukrainian translation, especially with Soyfer's text. For some, the only possible entry into his work is through Russian. Even today, especially in Eastern Ukraine, there are people for whom this is the case. Having access to the translation or the ability to clarify certain points during the performance is very important. For other Ukrainian becomes a conscious choice. People who have spoken Russian all their lives switch to Ukrainian as a language of self-definition and resistance. And for some, the world has always been perceived only in Ukrainian. The Russian-Ukrainian translation do not compete, they complement and another provide access to same world of meanings. Thank you for attention.
Your contribution was very important to understand how Jura Soyfer is present today in the world. So thank you very much for your contribution.
Thank you.